I want to talk about being a storyteller because that is the mission of what we're trying to do here. And just tell me about collecting, feeling, hearing the stories that made up your what you've just told us.
Well, it was very interesting. One of the things I've learned a lot through storytelling is that it's all the same story, just different details thrown in. And when I began working on this project, my goal was to tell my story. But as I continued to work with the project and to do research and meet more people who also had brain injury, I began to recognize that it wasn't really my story, that it was a story that we all shared. And it's been, and that helped me kind of realize, just see a lot of the through lines of the common themes in so many stories. And I began to look, and it also helped me put my own story into perspective.
What are the common denominators that you're seeing in what actually started as more than 3 stories, as many stories?
Yeah, yes. The story began actually, the stories were collected by a wide variety of different people who I met at the Crumley House Brain Injury Rehabilitation Center. And I condensed their stories into 3 characters to make it a little bit easier. Instead of having 20 different characters to follow, 3 is much more manageable. And some common themes I began to find were themes, I hesitate to say of acceptance, but of recognition that this incident has made us who we are.
One of the themes that we see consistently is the tragic impact on the family, and that was in your story. Mm-hmm. It was in the 12-year-old boy. Is that Larry's story? Did you see that theme over and over, especially at the time you worked at the Crumley House?
Yeah, and that was one very big thing. Is I recognized more and more that it's not the story of brain injury isn't the story about just the person who's actually experiencing the brain injury, but it's the story about the entire community surrounding that person, all the students or all the classmates, all the parents, the family, and that was one of the reasons why I began to incorporate stories of my own family and my friends, because I began to recognize whenever something so serious happens, it's not just about that one person. We are by necessity social creatures, and so everything that happens to us affects many of the people surrounding us as well.